Good morning. It's going to be a short stream today. I am pouring some coffee. Give me a moment. And the room is cold. There's so much steam coming off this. Smells delicious though. And looks really hot. An insulated French press, which I just enjoy way too much. First taste, it's pretty good. Trying out a new grinder today. Lets me go a bit more coarse with the beans. That's fine. You'll just do a short lurk then. Happy Tuesday, Nightshade dude. All right. So, let's see, what's our font size here? Keep checking because it's easier to see. Goodness, what did I do? It's easier to see the font on mobile if it's a little bit larger. So go to the top, see, okay, we're at about 35 lines across, top to bottom. If you have good eyes, you can see that on mobile. Let's see, we could bump it up one more, go 33. It's probably a little bit more comfortable on mobile. Fun fact, I usually watch other programming Twitch streams on mobile, so I'm a little sensitive to this. It does mean that the context is reduced. Let's see. Where did we end up? Oh, we had 2 failures. Test dbsync if there are changes. All right, let's dig in. Let's make some progress. And coffee. Delicious. It panicked. Okay. We have some differences in the file. Interesting. So this is the certdb pages are identical function. Or page differences. So page 2 is expected to be this. It was actually this. Page 3. Okay. So what's happening? This is test dbsync if there are changes. Let's start with the test. Wrong file. We want to be in db. Create a database. Copy the database to the client. Okay, and this test is, if I remember correctly, and maybe we should make a note on this. Oh, interesting. This test will test that an out-of-state client will replace the database with a new one if it can't stream the changes. Okay. create the database on the server, copy it to the client, then we mutate the server, and then we start the client. We await and check that the client starts up correctly. It asks for databases stream. It asks for the list of databases. Then it asks for database information. Once it has the database information, what do we do? Ask for another event so that we can stream the database updates. So we have the stream and the request. In the last stream, we actually changed this. So it's not a surprise that it broke, but thanks to the magic of tests, we can detect it and fix it. It could be a problem with the test now. It's very possible. So what do we do? Here we are creating the response for this request. So our little test server pipes these things over to us so we can control what the server does in the tests. We get this unbound channel. We create a stream receiver, which is part of the response, and send that. And then with the stream receiver, the stream sender, the other half of that, we send page after page. Now, this doesn't look like what the test described itself as. This looks like we are actually updating the database and not sending it again if it doesn't exist. Here we're just sending the diff. Like, oh, these pages are different. Here you go. Changed server pages. So this is sending the wrong thing. Or the right thing. Could be our tests. We drop the stream, let the client know that we're done sending pages. Oh, this is... That's not right. I think... Let's see if there's another one. Test database download. So this one will download the database if it doesn't exist. If it can't stream the changes, that is actually one of these. Okay. So if we can't sync, these I believe are testing sync if stream error with not found and stream error with out of range. These should download if there was a problem. Basically, it deletes the local file and just downloads a specific version. I'm going to rename these so they are sync, and then we have download at the beginning. Okay. A little bit better. Slowly making little bits of improvement. Now to go back to where we were. STB, and this one is actually download. Oh no, this is still a sync. This is still a sync. And this is incorrect. The test seems okay. At the logic here, it seems okay. We set up a response. We stream changes. I happen to remember that there should be 3 pages changing here. Don't want to debug page. Let's see how many of these we get. Are we actually sending 3? Do we get 3 of these? 3 little lovely gibberish lines. We do. Interesting. So if we get 3 of these, why are 3 not applied? What do we have in page? We have the page checksum. And page number. Maybe. That was Copilot. So yes, we are sending for page 2 and page 3 the pages. They are just not being applied. Interesting. Is this because we put that one section of code in a task and we are beating it? We are racing it now? Let's say we get those and then we sleep for 5 seconds. Tokyo IO. No, it's not Tokyo. It's Tokyo time sleep. Thank you. 1 second is probably enough. Let's put that before the check here. Ah, everything passes. It's a timing issue. Now, that's interesting. We did quite a few changes on the previous stream. I suspect this is because of the new task. Let's go investigate the code and see. Let's go into sync database. Now, the database exists locally. Okay. So we're not going through this first branch. We know that the database exists locally on the client. We ask for its database information. We get that information and get DB. What does get DB do? Does it tell us information about the DB? Oh, that's on checksum.db. Okay, never mind. We're just pulling the checksum for the database out of our local info. This represents the checksum of the pages that we have locally in the client. We check to see if the checksums differ. They must differ. And we're going into here to stream the database updates. And if there's a problem, we go into these branches here. These are covered by the other tests, not this test. So let's dig in to stream database updates. Stream database updates. Come through, yada yada, and we spawn. Boom. Perhaps. Do we also use this below? No, we call listen for database changes. Listen for database changes should be the one that spawns a task. Oh, and it calls stream database updates. Ha, I see. So because this is here, fascinating. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I almost feel like we want this synchronous for the case that we are starting the server, and then asynchronous as the server is running. At this point, we want it to block because the server is starting up. Coffee time. All right. So perhaps we put this into a variable and then spawn or don't spawn. Sync task equals that. And if sync, we spawn. If blocking, we don't. Hmm. Name this to all right, that should have broken in two places. One here. So at this point, we want it to block. We want a false here. Just below, we want a true. Slightly different behavior. One for when we're starting up, and then the latter one is for just persisting updates, right? We just want to continually keep something up to date as we sync more changes. All right, let's check the test. That works, but we still have our sleep. Looking good. Am I enjoying the freezing weather? Partially. The world is beautiful. I love this time of year. It looks like I live in a snow globe. Let's also check to see if that fixes all of the tests. Ooh, one still failed. Okay. Let's investigate. We're going on a bug hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. I'm not scared. Panicked at data plane DB. Okay. Ah, so we're expecting the wrong thing? Or I didn't patch up? See, we should have sent out of range. Okay. Let's jump into that. Let me turn the heater off just a moment. Right. We've got about, let's see, 20 minutes here. Let's see what we can do. So we are getting some event that isn't this one. Let's see, what event are we getting? We say, hey, that's not found. Let's borrow the event. What event did we get? Tell us, Rust. Database info. So we asked for database information. Oh, are we retrying? It's out of range. So what? Yes, okay, we did change this. Test DB sync if stream error with out of range. Now we just renamed this from download to sync. I wonder if that was correct. This test will simulate the server and the client both having the same database with the client slightly out of date. When the client tries to stream the changes, the server will return an out of error range. Okay, second branch. The client should then download the entire database from the server. Ah, yes. We changed the database download piece. So now our test is out of sync. Let's go validate that just to make sure. Sometimes I do wish that this could be on the right side. So I find myself, oh, it can? Oh, what a wonderful day. Okay. And then I can obviously close this one. It's so beautiful. Look at that. Text side by side. Oh, please consider adding the following helpful comments above each assert statement, asserting that what is being asserted. You learned that trick in your junior days. Yes, I agree. That would. I was hoping that it wouldn't be saying exactly what we're asserting. Right? Assert that the event matches this, that we're getting the database, that we're doing this. I completely agree, but I would almost prefer updating the code to read more like a story. Right? Like it, having something that is a little bit more expressive. It could even be more terse. Right? Like replacing this with a test context. Not assert client fetches list of databases. Right? Like this line here, I'd be comfortable putting into some assert utilities pieces that just read. I like the idea. And it's good feedback because basically the feedback says it doesn't read well. Right? Oh, RS test. What is RS test? All right. I will look that up later because I only have so much time left today. Just derive fixture-based tests above function declarations. Oh, interesting. That could be fun. Click the link just to see. Okay, let's take a look. Copy. Creating a test for each combination of given values. Interesting. Interesting. Unfortunately, it's not combinations. And I usually have to control a piece of it. I want, because like we usually have to send data back to the client. We're puppeting a server in order to test out a client. Yeah, this piece here, I don't think would work for me. Maybe it would. Test should terminate values. I'm not seeing it, but it's a neat idea. Because usually for these tests, it's a specific sequence that we have to test, which is like this, but I see this as being slightly different. Yeah, if I had the server installation in a factory function, then it could work well enough. I see. Why? Very often in Rust, we write tests like this. Create repository, yes. Okay. By making use of our RS test, we can isolate the dependencies. I like this. Passing them as fixtures. Make repository, okay. I feel like I'm not far from this. Like it feels like at least part of the setup could be that way. Right? Create repository, which is basically this stuff. Well, thank you for the ad. I think I will investigate this later today. It's interesting. Thank you. Oh, Starlink. Starlink got me. Back to Zed. All right. And where were we? We were having an issue here. Well, anything that can reduce boilerplate in test code, I think is really good because as test code lives, it becomes out of sync with the other test code, which is basically a clone of it. So in this case, we were getting back a database info request instead of a fetch databases. And this comes after we get an out of range. So let's see. Sync database. It's not this branch, this one. Here, we come into sync the database. We get an error back. We get a sync error. Checksum not found. Was it not found or was it? I don't remember. Range. See, not found and out of range. Guess what? This code was copy and pasted and changed. Okay. Out of range. So we remove the file and then start the database download. But because of the refactoring yesterday, downloading the database now does include getting the DB info again. So I think it is correct. The test is yet to be updated. We get the info and then the database. Okay. That I think is reasonable, which means we get one of these. This is right. Okay, database info. And this would be great to have, like I was expressing in those assert functions earlier. So we could update this in one place, and it would have fixed both tests. Now, there's going to be another failure here. Let's check. Oh, was that it? Only. Okay, I was wrong. Then we get, oh, that's right. Fetch database was following database info. Okay. Everything passes. Man, it is fast. And these are full tests running a server, a client. It's taken a while to get this set up, but man, it tests very quickly. Okay. What would be nice to see at this point is basically branch information for our test, because I think we're missing some now. Test database missing for download. Test client has database missing on server. What does this even mean? Oh, the client has the database, but it's missing on server. That's a good one. What do we do with that? How do we even test that? We create the file for the client, make sure it doesn't exist for the server, and then ensure that the client has deleted it at the end. I don't know if I like that. What if this is the only one? What if there's like an archive server bug? Deleting data is always it's better to like leave it around, rename it to something else, unless it's massive. Okay, but realistically, when would the client have a database that the server does not? That is when the whole cluster is booting. Right? At the very, very beginning. Let's make some notes here. The cluster is starting up. The client may have a database that the archive server should have. Possibilities. 1, 2. And the database was removed from the archive server. Now, the server should have a record that the database used to exist, but is now gone. So maybe we have some other message that says when it asks for sync, like in this case here, if the archive server used to have it, and it is asked for information about it, it can say this goes away and remove all the pages. That's not bad. This one, though, feels like if the server doesn't have it, here, let's make this. Okay. In this case, when the cluster is starting up, the client may have a database that the archive server should have. Yeah, this is more of a think about how the whole cluster should boot up. So let's say you're starting an application. You say, this is the initial state. I am deploying my code and the initial database. All right. Sorry, I had to sneeze. If the client okay. What should we do? Something like this. The archive server should elect it as leader and sync the DB. Possibly. Okay. And I definitely like the idea of creating some assert functions on test context to evaluate these. Even a macro would be better. Well, this is getting us set up for tomorrow. I believe I should be able to stream a longer stream tomorrow. I have some stuff that came up this morning. So I have to get going. Let's figure out who we want to raid today. Let's take a peek. Ads? No. All right. While we're waiting for the ad, I'm curious. Waiting for Bonnie. That's some open source contributions. Apologies, it is not at the moment. Let's see. And I was on mute that whole time. Basically, I was saying, next time, I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for the link today. I will investigate that. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.